My name is Christian from Equine 74 and a very warm welcome today to our podcast. Today we are in Weert, I don't know how to spell Weert, however you say it. No, anyway, it's in the Netherlands and I'm guest with Camilo. Thank you, Camilo, for your time, and I'm happy to be here. And you are not looking like a typical Dutch guy. You don't sound like a Dutch guy, so you're from Colombia.
Yes, I'm from Colombia. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, I'm from Colombia. I've been here in Europe for more than 6 years.
6 years now?
Yeah, I want to develop a better career with the horses.
And that's why you're coming to Europe?
That's why I traveled from Colombia to Europe, trying to learn a little more how you can produce and how you can work with the horses here in Europe.
Is it different to the way in Colombia?
It's completely different. But for me, it's different in a positive way. For me, it's important to spend time with the horse, and that's how you learn to do it.
Is it different to Colombia? I mean, I know Daniel Blumen, who is actually Colombian, is now riding for Israel. I know him for years. I know Nico Toro, who is not far away from here. Yeah. And you are all good riders. So what's the little difference between the European way of treatment with horses and the South American or the special Colombian way?
Let's say that on those riders you have a lot of talent that is really important. Someone like Daniel or someone like Nicolas, they have a lot of talent to ride horses, and that's, let's say, the 60% of this, or maybe the 50% of this. But the other 50% is to know what happened on each moment with your horse. I cannot say that I'm 100% sure about it, but if you ask both of them, they are going to tell you that at the moment that they are closer to the horse, on the behavior, on the daily routine, more they know about the horses and better horses they can produce. And that for me is the big change from the system that the people have here in Europe and the system that we have in Colombia.
So it's a question of the management, the daily management, or the whole structure.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nico, I asked Nico this, and he said, okay, they're almost the same like you. If you want to get professional, you have to come to Europe because there's a lot more professional in the stable, in the daily work, in the structure, and this. And I just met your brother. He's an Olympic squad of the 3-day eventing of your home country, Colombia. So you are in a rider family. Is your family, your father, mother also riding? Or?
No, that's the funny part of my family. The only ones at home that we ride are my brother and myself. But on my family, no, my mother or my father, they like the animals, they really like the horses, but they never rode a horse.
I was very proud. Yesterday I met again Taiso Sukutani from Japan, and we did a lovely podcast. And the point is, I never thought about this, he was 6 times by the Olympics. His father was 3 times at the Olympics, and his grandfather was 1 time at the Olympics. There's no family in the world that is done some. It's unbelievable.
There is no family like this.
Yeah. But coming back to the differences from Europe. So after France, you're coming over to Netherlands or Belgium, and
no. After France, I did a little pause in Belgium.
Yeah.
There is when I started working and talking a lot with Nicolas Toro.
Yeah.
We start because we know each other in Colombia. But in that moment in Belgium, we start to build like a better friendship. Actually, for me, I think Nicolas is one of my biggest friend that I can have here in Europe. And I always try to be surrounded of people that have the same passion that I have from the horses, and the people that can teach me something extra about the horses. And that's something that I feel is really nice, that now I know you. And I know not just about your product, but I also can feel all the passion that you have around the horses and what takes you to build such a nice product to produce something that helps the horses on a proper way.
So he's one of your friends, and he's influencing you in terms of how the treatment. When you think about a rider, who influenced you most? Who is it?
As a rider, I always like to take a look on Scott Brush, for example.
Yeah.
I think I can think that he's a full horseman.
Yeah.
because he liked to know what is happening with the horse inside and outside the ring.
Yeah, management is probably, besides talent, one of the keys. So when we talk about management, what is your daily routine in the horses? You have now in this stable where we are now here 5 horses, client horses, your own horses, your brother's thoroughbred horse or 75% thoroughbred horse. So what's the daily routine? How do you start with feeding and the daily routine?
Okay, my daily routine, the first thing, and I always try to do it on this way, is that the first thing that they have to get is the hay to produce a better condition on the stomach. Then I give the breakfast, and after that I try to put the horses on the walker or on the field. Actually, I always try that the horses that are more, I don't want to say special, but the ones that are more or spooky or that have a little more a different behavior than the normal ones on all the group, those are the ones that I put first in the field, because I start to understand that when they spend more hours there in the morning, more relaxed they are on the rest of the day. And then I start working them. On my 6 days of work with the horses, I always try to make some changes. Like at the beginning of the week, they all have like a flat work. But then in the 3rd or 4th day, they have some gymnastics. And the ones that they don't need the gymnastics, I try to work also a lot with the lunge. That they launch and they start to develop and work with different muscles. And then comes the lunge for the horses, that I always try to give a good quantity of alfalfa or chaff, because this is also something that is going to help on the behavior of the stomach of the horse. At the end of the day, it's just to give the dinner, put first a little of hay, then give the dinner, and then a big quantity of hay in the night. On that way they have more options to eat a little more during the pause in the night that they do.
And when we have a look at the horses before, we're talking about education. I think this is an important point that you say for yourself that because you are specialized on young horses, 4 to 6 years old, and that you very interesting and give the horses on a long-lasting perspective a good education. So what is a good education for you?
For me, a good education on a horse is like they understand and they start to get the working system, that they understand the working program that you are putting them, but don't make them or changing them to a robot, because they are still animals.
So it's very specific training for each and education for each horse.
A little like that, yes, because not all the horses have the same behavior. For me, the good education is not just when you are riding the horse, it's also when you have the horse on the launch or when you walk the horse. From that moment also you bring a lot of good education. So for me it's really important that the horses between the 4.5 and almost the 7-year-old, they understand what is happening and what is going to happen from the next years of their life.
I'm totally with you, and all riders I'm talking to, they say we have more and more sensitive horses belonging to breeding, so the education takes a bit longer and has to be done very carefully. And now coming back, as all of you know, we are coming from Equine 74, we're talking about feeding and supplementation. So maybe can you tell us a bit about your first impressions you got with the Equine 74 gastric, the pellet, the daily, and also the paste? What are the first things you know about it, and how do you see and feel a difference in the horses?
Okay, with the pellet, at the first moment that I start to give to the horses, what I start to detect on them is the behavior that they have with the food. Talking about the hay and the feed and the normal feeding daily. They start to be a little more patient when they are eating, and the second thing is that on the eventer horse that when she arrived, she was with a lot of stress and even in a gastric ulcer and everything. When I did end the normal procedure with the gastroguard and then start to give the product, I start to feel that she start to enjoy more when she has to eat. She comes on a easier and better way to the hay, also with the food. And her behavior inside the box and on the wash place and in the different moments that I have to manipulate her, she started to be a little more calm, a little more relaxed. And in the other two horses that I also use the pellet, I start to see that the coat and the hair and they start to shine a little more and they start to look much better. So I can see or I can feel that they are using all the good things that the food has inside of them.
Because the digestion in general getting better.
It's getting much better. And now talking about the other product, the calm.
The pecs, the stomach.
Yeah. On this one, I use it on my horse, that he's a bloody horse. When he's in the competition, he's always there, he's bloody, he wants to know what is happening everywhere. Sometimes even people ask me if he's a stallion when he's a gelding, so you can see the behavior that he has. And when I start to use this product, he is not that he changed this bloody thing or that he don't want to go to the jumps or that he start to be lazy on the work. What I feel is that now he's focused on the
more concentrated,
more present in the moment. The competition start even in the morning of that day, or maybe the day before, in the evening of the day before, because you always want that your horse arrives to the competition on the best way possible. And these little tools help a lot for that, because if they have a good nutrition, if they are relaxed and they are enjoying what is happening at home, they can use all the energy and all the pulse and all the muscles and everything on a proper way in the competition. So everything comes together, everything make that click that you are always looking when you take a horse to the competition.
Interesting. This is a nice formulation. It's a little tool, or also the click for the competition. This is a nice description, I think.
I think it's like this, because if you put the on a big spectrum, what we do, we spend more hours here at home riding the horses and just few minutes in the ring. But those minutes, if you don't have all the things before, those minutes are going to be difficult, or for some riders a big struggle, they are going to, but what is happening? This is not my horse. But maybe it's not your horse, because something between all the steps that you need to do before, there is something that is not good.
And that you're missing,
Sometimes it's just something so little but so important, like the nutrition.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
It was a pleasure to be here.
For me, it was a pleasure to have you here.
Interesting podcast. I think there are a lot of people will listen to it and learn a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Now the last part is coming.
Oh my God, I think this is the difficult part.
And now we are back, and now I have the either or question. They are easy, it's easy, don't worry. Beer or wine?
Wine.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Cinema or clip my horse?
Cinema.
Oh, you are the first rider ever said cinema.
Cinema.
All the other ones want to watch clip my horse. Tesla or Volkswagen?
Volkswagen.
Olympics or Aachen?
Olympics.
King Edward or Explosion?
That's a difficult one. At this moment, King Edward.
Running a half marathon or getting 3 days in row dressage lessons by your brother Maurice?
The marathon. I will choose the marathon.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Okay.